Sketch the character of Kurtz in Heart of Darkness. Marks 10 to 12. Answer. A top ivory trader working for a Belgian company in Africa, Mr. Kurtz is one of the two dominating characters in Conrad's Heart of Darkness, the other being the narrator, Marlowe. He is a very complex personality and an enigma about whom we keep thinking a good deal even after we finish reading the novella. Kurtz symbolizes the Western men's greed and commercial mentality. He does not merely excels at collecting ivory for the company, he himself develops a penchant for ivory. This passion for ivory shows the extent to which a man's greed can go. He often goes to the dreadful interior of the Congo in his quest for ivory. Even when he dies ill, he keeps asking those around him to save his ivory lest they should be plundered. On one occasion, he even threatened to kill his Russian friend if the latter were not to surrender a certain quantity of ivory which he has got. Penchant for power and pelf, a leading interest of a Western man, is deeply latent in Kurtz. A mere paid agent of a trading company, Kurtz behaves like the apostle of civilization and mesmerizes the natives so that they worship him. His possession of a gun, a rare instrument in the society of ignorant and superstitious savages, makes him an object of reverence. Once he wins their full trust and respect, he simply uses them to pillage their neighbors for ivory. Ironically, Kurtz becomes a victim of megalomania and begins to imagine himself as a deity who needs to be appeased with human sacrifice. The horrifying spectacle of the dried human heads that mounted on the stakes under his window confirms his descent into the world of darkness. His monstrousness and cruelty lead him to the verge of ludicrousness and lunacy. In short, he represents the most extreme, the most insidious example of the general corruption, who succumbed to the fascination of the abomination. Kurtz symbolizes the reverse effect of a savage ambience on a civilized man. In the course of his prolonged association with the backward natives, and having witnessed again and again their superstitious observances, Kurtz himself falls under their influence and reverts to a state of savagery and barbarism. He participates in their customs and ceremonies, presides over their midnight dances which always end with unspeakable rites. Thus, a civilized man Kurtz himself falls a prey to the forces of primitivism. Kurtz's accumulated experience and his capacity to think upon his experiences have made him something of a philosopher. His philosophical outlook, combined with his exceptional eloquence, has turned him into a kind of sage who exercises a certain fascination upon those intellectuals who come into contact with him. The Russian trader, who is himself a very intelligent man, falls under Kurtz's influence and becomes his admiring devotee. Even Marlowe, an exceptionally rational and intelligent man, finds Mr. Kurtz's influence to be irresistible. Kurtz is also a repentant sinner. He finally recognizes the evil within him. While dying, he utters the words horror, horror which clearly express this recognition on his part when his end approaches. By virtue of the spark of goodness still present in Kurtz, he is able to see a vision of death and of damnation which awaits him. Kurtz sees the horror of hell where he is to go after his death, repenting the misdeeds which he did recklessly. The last words of Mr. Kurtz should therefore serve as an eye-opener for us. We should certainly derive a lesson from Mr. Kurtz's final words on earth. Finished. Please subscribe to the channel for more updates of ready-made notes on English literature. Also, please share this channel to help any student pursue a degree in English literature. Please do not forget to subscribe, like, and comment.